Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome to episode 55 of Stock Talk with Josh. And
Niko.
this is a special episode, y'all. I'll say because this is more than likely our final episode of the year. So we're recording this on December 23rd, right before Christmas Eve. So that's cool. It's kind of crazy how this year went by fast.
Yeah.
It was also a learning year. Learned a lot
Yes, it
about
was.
myself personally, and also when it comes to the stock market, things like that. So pretty cool. So I do want to do on this episode do like a little reflection of how both our years have went with the stock market and what we have learned. And I do want to also say before we also get started, make sure to follow us on TikTok at Stock Talk underscore Josh and Josh Niko, and Facebook at Stock Talk with Josh and Niko. And
And we have a YouTube,
also have a YouTube
Stock
channel.
Talk with Josh and Niko. And we have my Discord.
Yep. I see your Discord begins some people in it.
It
asking
has some
questions.
people in
Yeah.
it, but it kind of stalled.
Well, that's you said about everything too that we be doing. But yeah, we back here for episode 55. So thank you all we greatly appreciate all of the love and support you have given us for the past. I don't know how many years we've been doing this. Like 3 years
Since
now.
2020, so this is our third year.
Yeah. So thank you all for the love and support. But yeah,
And,
let's get
thank
started.
you to all the guests that have come on our show this year.
Yeah, thank you for all the guests. We had some really great guests.
We,
this
we
year.
have some good guests.
I think
so.
after every single year we get better with the guests.
We always get new people. Yeah.
So that's really cool about it. But yeah, Nico,
Hmm.
how you been doing though?
I've been good. So I just looked at my account now, and so this year, my account's up 57%, which is really good. But at the same time, you have to consider all the losses I took last year. So really, it was like a makeup year, and my account's not even where it was. My account was higher 2 years ago than where it is now. So I'm still making up for all those losses of in 2022. But nevertheless, it's still up 57%, which is really good. And the Nasdaq's up 53%. So I'm happy I picked some of the stocks I did because I slightly outperformed. And sold off some of my Tesla shares this year. I'm trying to make Tesla a smaller position so it's not so impactful on my portfolio. But yeah, I'm thankful.
Yeah, I'm also thankful for AMD. I think I'm up with was it like 13%, something like that?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm up on AMD. All my other stocks been kind of like, oh, cool. I've been kind of like break even for most of it.
Yeah.
I also put on a list. I want to talk about Roblox later on down the road because I
Okay.
expected like a little bit more. But besides that, I've been kind of cool. I wouldn't say have that large in returns as you do, but I'm kind
Yeah.
of like staying consistent, like a little bit above break even. So,
Yeah. Well, I fell into a lot of those type of stocks, like you said, Disney. A lot of those companies, they don't do anything. I fell into a lot of those this year where you sit there
yeah,
and you
me
wait.
too. Yeah.
You sit there and wait, and you let 6 months go by or 9 months go by, and it doesn't really move.
Because you kind of like you bought it expecting like some little
Yeah.
bit more back,
Yeah.
and it's like
And because sometimes that does happen. If you get maybe like an AMD or something, or like a Meta this year, like if you get into the right companies, when they're down like that and you see opportunity, they jump right back up. Normally a month later or 2
Yeah.
months later. Like Netflix did that. A bunch of companies did that. But then you have companies like Disney where they don't move. They for over a year they'll just stay at Disney's been at $90 or $100 for over a year now, and it's annoying. So that's why when I see those, I sell out of it. If it doesn't have any momentum, right? And the other thing you can do is when the stock does fall, let's say it falls 30% or whatever, don't buy it on that day or sometimes even that week. I would wait at least a couple of weeks, wait for some time to go by. Most of the time it'll keep falling, then buy into it. Then you won't have to wait so long for it to recover. And then if you hold it for 3 months like Disney and it doesn't move, then sell it. You can get out and put your money somewhere else.
Well, let's kind of like switch topics a little bit. So first thing on the list, I want to talk about like the housing market in total, and especially like the last couple of weeks, month. Housing has been like the main topic for everywhere you turn on TV, things like that. So it
Mhm.
says, I see a tweet from the Kobe letter on Twitter or /X or whatever you want to call it. It says the average home payment is roughly $3,332 a month. The average rent is $2,184.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of crazy. That's kind of like, and a lot of people like they see those numbers and kind of think like a housing bubble might be on the way, like a big pop or anything like that. So
And the other thing I've been seeing statistics on is the rise in the percentage of homeless people.
yeah,
And we see it in Chicago. Obviously there's places like California that have it worse than others.
and
But
then I think a lot of the migrants too coming in.
that
So,
too,
yeah.
that too. So it's like it's
A
just
lot of people are like trying to like, especially in the city, Chicago. They trying to find like places for them to live while also dealing with their own
Right.
homeless people population. So there's a
Yeah,
lot going
because
on.
you got the tents everywhere. You got the people trying to live in tents. You got them trying to fill out hotels and stuff, right? They
Mhm.
try to live in hotels.
And then plus with rent going up now, we also got people who's like living trying to make sure they're not out.
Even people who aren't, yeah,
Yeah.
even people who aren't super poor or struggling, like, maybe people our age or a little bit older than us who are just buying their first house.
Exactly.
They have crazy. If the average home payment is $3,300 a month, that's crazy. That's a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, I don't know. But see, I guess that's just because the rates are higher. So that's why the Fed is talking about the next couple months they're gonna drop those rates back down.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I put that on the list though too.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's on here too. So once that happens, that'll probably take care of a lot of this problem. And there's something else I put on the list too about office loans that relates to that as well. So yeah, I mean, it is really bad right now, but I'm thinking when they drop these rates, I think they're going to drop it. I don't know if they gave a number. I want to say maybe drop it in half or down to 3% or something. That should help a lot. That should lower these.
I still think that can be a little scary though too, because like I think the reason would be why are they cutting the rates too?
They're cutting the rates because they fixed the inflation problem that we had. The inflation we had a year ago of 10% is now down to 3%.
See, like you said, that's a good reason. But
Yeah.
say if they're would they be cutting it because of that reason or just to slow or cut down, stop a recession? So I think if they trying to do what you said, that's a good thing. But if they cutting the rates because of the recession,
Oh,
that could be a negative aspect of it too.
Well, I don't know. Not necessarily. Okay, because we were talking about a recession 2 years ago and a year ago, right?
I feel like everyone talks about a recession every single year.
Yeah, but in the last 2 years, after the pandemic, we definitely had more discussions about that.
Absolutely.
That was more in the forefront.
Yeah.
And we had the supply chain problems, and then we had the inflation problem, right? And everything we saw prices of everything, houses, groceries, everything went up, right? And now we're more used to it, and it's starting to regulate a little bit more.
Yeah.
And now they said the number for this past year over year was only 3%. So they fixed the inflation thing. The prices are not jumping up as much. I was shocked last week when gas went from like $3 to $2.50 in one day.
Yeah.
So prices are getting a little bit better. But as far as the recession now going into 2024, I don't know about that. I think we already went through the tough times around the pandemic time and the year after. So I don't know. I think if they cut rates, it'll be fine. I think people are waiting for rates to be cut because how we said people who are buying their first home or something, or people who are homeless, it's gonna help them. I don't see how how cutting rates would.
I'm also kind of like concerned like how the stock market would kind of take that too.
Well, that's something else I
But
thought
like
about too.
we all don't know that.
Well,
we don't know the answer, but I am kind of like concerned like how would the stock market take that
it's
news?
going to be good though. It's going to be good.
Think so?
But okay. So the first thing you have to look at is like right now I've been talking about this for months with like all these CDs you have available, with all these certain savings accounts like Robinhood where they pay you 5% interest, right? Because the rates are at 5%. So I've been putting a bunch of money, and I know other people who do the same. I've been putting a bunch of money into my Robinhood account just because they're paying me every month. They're paying me that 5% interest. That's it's not great, but it's good enough to put money there. And that's going to keep a lot of people out of dividend stocks because normally if people want passive income for retirement or whatever reason, they're going to put a lot of it into dividend stocks. And most of the time, dividend stocks pay 2%, 4%, maybe 6% if you're lucky. So 5% is pretty strong. But what's going to happen now is the Fed's most likely going to cut rates in early 2024, and then people aren't going to be able to earn that 5% anymore, and so they're going to have to go back to dividend stocks. So those dividend stocks will go back up, and you could even say the general market will go back up. But what you have to think about is, are people already planning for that? Because the index is up 55%. The S&P is up a little bit less, but still, the stock market as a whole this year has done really well. So people are probably already thinking about that, especially when the Fed says, Q1 of 2024, we're planning to cut rates. Well, then people are already expecting it. So you
kind of bracing for it.
Yeah, So we'll see.
Yeah, but the housing market is kind of like I think that's the main thing we should be most of us should be thinking about.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's still a little bit more. It's still more cost efficient to rent instead of buy. Sometimes
I think
because
so
of the rates
too.
though too.
I
Well,
think so
I
too.
think that's why the rents are up now too, because people who rent out homes and things like that, apartments, they know that. That's why
Yeah,
they get to jack up the prices.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, what's interesting is people always say, oh, invest buying the home instead of like renting. They'll say renting is a waste of money. Or they'll say buying a home is one of the best investments you can make. But I read a book this summer called The Wealthy Renter, and he talks about how renting is not so bad, and that you actually all the ways you're losing out on money from owning a home. Whether that's like if you rent, you don't have to pay for certain things, right? Like if you rent, you don't have to take care of lawn care, stuff like that, right? Fixing things around the house.
You ain't got
But
to
if
worry about the water heater going out.
yeah, but if you own the house, you have to pay for all that
Mm.
stuff. So over time, you're spending a ton of money. So is it really that great of an investment if it's costing you a bunch of money?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah. I think I also had another question. So we brought up like the market crashing. So I had a question: should he be scared when someone says the market will crash
Well,
upcoming
let's
year?
go in order. Let's go in order.
Okay, well, go in order then. So let's switch it up now. Um, so we all love this company. I'm not wearing Nike shoes though, but yeah, I usually do though. But Nike, the stock falls 11%. Nico,
This was somewhat surprising to me, I have to say.
think so?
Okay, so what happened was prior to this week when that happened, the week before, I want to say maybe around 2 weeks ago, the stock topped out at what 123, 124, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up. I bought my shares at about $101, I think. So I'm up. I was up whatever 20 or 25%. I think I have 20 shares. So I think I have 20 shares. I said, okay, I'm going to sell a little bit because Nike had a nice run, and there's a chance that it could fall back down. So I sold a couple shares, right? And then this news came out, and the stock fell 11%. So I bought back those two shares 11% cheaper. So it worked out because in a year from now, I do think Nike will be over $120 a share, right? I think it'll be higher up.
It's a
But
very safe stock, I'll say.
but
Because I still think it's gonna be around for the next
yeah,
20 plus years. So,
right.
yeah.
It'd be hard. It'd be hard to picture a scenario where Nike just starts going downhill, year after year from here on out. So, but you could say the same thing about a lot of stocks. Like look at Disney, look at Walgreens. You could make the argument for a bunch of
Very true.
big
Yeah.
corporations. But Nike, it's another one. Whatever. You got to measure that risk to reward. But anyways, the earnings came out, and I think the stock fell too much. Okay, so the reason the stock fell is because they cut revenue. Okay, they cut their revenue expectations. But they're only expecting revenue was only down 2%. We're talking about a 2% decrease in revenue. Okay, so yeah, they're not growing. So it's not great. It's not great news. But it's only down 2%. At the same time, it says brand Nike direct and brand digital sales were up 4% and 6%. So remember, they kind of shifted from, I think they take their stuff out of Foot Locker, something
Yeah.
like that, where they
Yeah.
wanted more direct to consumer business than going through Foot Locker and these other things, right? Now I'm pretty sure we might have talked about this before in the show, but I'm pretty sure this hurt Nike and Foot Locker in different ways because Foot Locker was bringing Nike more business, I think. That's why revenue is down. But at the same time, that's why margins and this direct-to-consumer stuff is up because Nike's selling direct-to-consumer. And I think Foot Locker is struggling too. I want to say Foot Locker is struggling. Their revenue is probably down as well because Nike's not, working with them. And to add to that, Nike says they're going to cut within the next 3 years.
Is that already doing layoffs too?
Well, it says they're cutting costs by $2 billion over the next 3 years. So yeah, maybe they're laying off people too. So I don't know. It seems like the bad news is very small, and there's some other good news to go with it. So that's why I feel like this 11% drop is, I don't know. I feel like it's overdone. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the investors they had like a great margin, so they just
Yeah.
sold. That's what it
could
really
be.
sounded
That
like
could
to
be.
me though.
That could be. So I don't know. I think that there was analysts saying that they're not inventing enough new stuff, or they're not coming out with new products and stuff.
What
But
company's really coming out with new things though?
what company is?
Yeah.
I don't know. What shoe brand is?
No, just in general. Can you name 10 of them? That's like really innovating and pushing their
Probably like
respectless
Meta
with?
and Apple and the usual companies.
Who else though?
I don't know.
I can say Meta with the Quest stuff that they're
Yeah.
doing, but
Um, the
but that
headsets, the VR
yeah,
stuff,
but that was around a couple years ago though. I'm just
the
saying like
AI products, like
AI is one of them.
Salesforce, Adobe, companies like that, maybe that are using AI, ChatGPT,
So
Microsoft.
besides AI, what's the next big thing that
I
people
don't
are
know.
these companies
If we're
pushing?
talking about shoes and
I
clothing and
I just don't like how that's like a negative though
yeah,
for Nike in particular. Like
yeah,
maybe you could say Apple. Like yeah, the iPhone's been the same.
because they
This
should be an
other account.
innovative company. But Nike, what are they going to do? Invent a new sneaker or something?
One that can fly, help you
Yeah,
fly.
I know.
But yeah,
I know.
but yeah, that's what I'm just saying. I don't like when people like say that for
Yeah.
different companies like that.
But at the same time, you're right. But that's the problem. That's why stocks like that, the Verizon, the Walgreens, some of these companies, that's why the stocks don't move. Or you could even use Disney. Disney's not really I don't know if I'd call them an innovative company. They kind of just do the same thing over and over, unless they're coming out with new content, movies, I guess you could say. But
Has it been a new Mickey Mouse recently?
no.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you have a fair argument, but that's at the same time, if they're not growing and changing stuff or, increasing earnings in some way, that's why the stock won't move then. That's why that turns into a bad investment.
Hmm.
So you do have to be you kind of want to be in the companies who are inventing new stuff or growing in some way. I don't know, developing new
Of
revenue
course, yeah, but
streams.
I'm just saying like how many companies are really
Right,
doing that though?
you're right. You're right. You're right.
Hmm.
Okay, on to the next thing. So I read this in one of my emails. This is interesting. This goes back to what we just talked about 10 minutes ago. This says 10 to 20% of all commercial real estate loans could default and banks could lose about $160 billion due to interest rate hikes and remote work, both affecting this. So we have 14% of all loans and 44% of office loans are in negative equity, which means that their current values are less than the outstanding loan balances. Okay,
Hmm.
so they are underwater, right? They're in debt. It doesn't look good.
I wonder what like student loans would be part of this though too. Would they too?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that would be interesting
But it's
too.
like commercial real estate. Yeah.
But this is different. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is for commercial real estate. So this is for offices and stuff. Because remember, the corporations and businesses, they haven't gone back to all the
Before 2020.
right,
Mhm.
right, exactly. So you have that, and then you have the interest rates also making the loans. The loan payments are going to be higher. So it's a problem. But again, now this goes back to what we just said. Same thing with the housing market and all that other stuff. Once the Fed cuts these rates coming up, that will help. It might not fix it completely, but it'll help.
Yeah, and this also be an interesting look at next couple of years, like when the pandemic first started, seeing how Amazon's kept building stuff, I actually think they're building something out in Portage, in Indiana, like something
Oh,
I
all
saw
right.
like a data center or something like that. So they constantly building some stuff. So I wonder how when the smoke clears down, they don't people are not buying from online as much as they were in 2020 to kind of go into stores
Oh,
a
that's
lot.
interesting.
Yeah, I wonder like how
But
that's
that's
also
already
going.
that's I think that's already happened. I think that phenomenon of people of the heavy online buying that happened in 2020 and
They
and
slow down for them.
and 2021, you could say,
I was outside, but when you go outside too, the stores are packed.
are they?
Lines, yeah, the malls they're packed.
I guess.
I was at Chicago Ridge, packed. Orland, packed. What's another mall? Yeah, those two malls packed.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's fair.
Yeah, and a lot of the little strip malls around with like one,
Yeah.
two stores and things like that. Those are packed though too. So people are actually going outside and buying.
But I want to say Amazon just said a couple weeks ago that was it for Black yeah, I think for Black Friday around that time I think they had record them and Shopify both had record-breaking numbers for those weeks.
Yeah, but that's
So
also Black Friday though too.
it's Black
So you
Friday.
can say, let's say Walmart, they have record numbers. Well, not record numbers, but their numbers went up compared to a year or two ago from as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see once the Fed raises or I'm sorry, not raises. Once they cut rates, we'll see how that affects this.
So you
But
think the same the problems that we have in the bank closure this past year was that
yeah,
first couple months of the year?
it's the
That
same
might
thing. It's the same
you
thing.
might think it's gonna be the same thing. The Fed's gonna have to come out and save a couple.
No, because that thing you're talking about where they went underwater just like this is because the rates went up.
Went up, yeah.
But when rates go down, that's going to help. That's going to help.
Okay.
And that's what I was about to say was banks in this situation, since they're saying banks could lose about 160 billion. That's something to think about if you're investing in bank stocks, because this year I bought U.S. Bank and I bought what else did I buy? Do you remember? I bought 2 bank stocks, U.S. Bank and Bank of America. Bank of America.
You bought Bank of America too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it too.
So I bought those. I want to say I made, I don't know. I sold out of. I held them for 6 months. I probably made 20%, something like that. I don't know, 10, 20, 30%.
I still got most of my Bank of America, I think.
What price is it at? It hasn't moved much,
No, it's been
right?
the same, honestly.
Yeah,
I should have
you see
sold
it?
it.
You
Yeah.
see, and I remember that.
I sold a couple shares, but I should have sold all of it.
Yeah, you see that, and I remember for those banks, there was like a period, like a month or two later, it was up. It was up like 25, 30%. I was like, okay, this is good. We're finally moving up. And then it went back down.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always say, like, when you see those spikes, don't think that the stock can keep running forever. Sell some of those shares. But at the same time, guess what else I had happen to me this year? I had companies like Adobe and Intuit, especially Adobe. Adobe, since I recommended that stock and I bought shares, Adobe is pretty much up 100%. I would have doubled my money if I still had those shares, and I would have sold, anytime in the last month or so.
Mm-hmm.
I sold my shares when I was up only 50 or 60%. So I made 50 or 60%, which is great, but I could have made 100% if I just held for an extra month or two. So you got to be careful. Don't sell all your shares when you get a pop in the stock, but don't just sit there and do nothing. Otherwise, you end up like Josh, where you still have all your shares and you never made any money.
Then you sad and depressed.
So you really got to find that balance. You really got to be careful. I think a bank. See, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. The bank stocks didn't move. Disney didn't move, but Adobe went up 100%. Right. So you could have made the argument that Disney could have done the same thing, or the bank stock could have done the same thing. But I think Adobe. I think the main thing with that is the AI. I think the AI revolution thing really helped them out. I think when they integrated that with their software, that probably got investors more excited for that, because it's a tech company, it's a software company. That's probably where Wall Street wants to put more money versus Bank of America, who's probably not going to, grow earnings as fast. And Disney still hasn't, they haven't turned things around yet, so it's not like their earnings are jumping up.
And they got some stuff they got to deal with.
They got stuff they got to deal with. Adobe, on the other hand, who knows? They could have huge.
I love Adobe.
Yeah, I like it too.
I use Adobe to edit the podcast.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You see, so you really got to find that balance. Like, you really got to be careful and find, okay, how many shares am I gonna sell at what prices? Don't be too greedy. Don't wait forever for the stock to go to up 1,000,000%. But you got to sell something. You got to sell something.
Try and make a profit.
Try to make a profit. You got to balance it. It's hard. It's hard because I struggle with it too.
Yeah.
But okay, on to our next topic.
Round of applause too. I like this one.
Keeping in line with the bank discussion, we have news that the Wells Fargo, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, is the first major bank to have employees unionize.
Beautiful history.
And it
Beautiful
was kind of hinting at like this year being the year where we see unions becoming more popular in different industries.
I feel like every worker in every single sector of job should be in a union.
I know.
Unionize.
Yeah.
Yes.
It might be a good idea. But
no, it'd be a great idea.
Now Wells Fargo, they said that's fine, but we think that they still the employees would be better off talking with the company or whatever, working with the company. So
of course
they're saying that, But I mean,
but no, I am kind of what I'm scared about it, like closing next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, shout out to them. Shout out to the workers out in New Mexico, Albuquerque. That's big news. Big news.
There's got to be a balance there. Like the company can't have too much power over the employees, but the employees can't put the company out of business.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a balance. Okay, you want to announce our next topic?
But no, real quick though. Yeah, so this kind of been like the year of like the unionization though too.
Yeah.
Where the UPS having their stuff to do with. It was something else going on too.
Ford had one.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
And then with the
writers' strike.
Writers'
strike.
Right.
There's a big ones. There's big ones.
Yeah, it was the year of the union for sure. But yeah, I'm just very happy because I know how like no, as like people working, like we sometimes hate our job, like some more than others, and like dealing with like all of the hardships of having to make like a living, things like that. I'm just happy people were able to do this for not only for themselves, but also how about their
You know what
families,
though? You know
things
what?
like that.
Okay, so my mom works in the steel mill, right? So she's in the union. She says they can't always fix things, so they can't always help her with things.
Yeah, I think it also depends on like yeah,
You know?
it depends on the union though too. But I think a lot of people would still rather have a union
Yeah, yeah,
instead. Like when you go home and when you say, I ask her like, would you rather be in the union or not be in one?
yeah,
And see what she says.
yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting dynamics there, but all you can do is try to balance it out.
Yeah, but next topic is the your president,
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Biden. The Biden administration offers billions in tax credits to incentivize hydrogen producers to build more sustainable energy.
So like we've brought this up a little bit during the whole when we used to talk about Tesla and EVs and stuff, and that was new.
That's been kind of part of like his whole entire campaign though too. Well, he is like a Democrat. And
Has
they kind
it?
of well,
No.
he is a dead Democrat though, so they do gonna be more on the
The sustainable energy
yeah.
thing. Yeah, but it's the last 3 years really have been more so about electric than they have. I mean, there's been small talks about these other things like hydro powered or hydrogen. Um, but I mean, I think this is something new because in when I started investing in Tesla 2019 or whatever, that's when there was like those strong $7,500 tax
Yeah.
credits for EV producers. But now they're doing it for hydrogen producing. So and I think Toyota a couple years ago Toyota was working on a vehicle that was hydrogen um what's the word? Hydrogen fueled.
Yeah.
I don't know if it went through. I don't know what's the thing with that. But this is interesting. This is cool.
Yeah, and I'll just this is after the next week or two. It's gonna be 2024. You know what
I
happens in
know.
2024?
We have a new president coming.
The election, and also what's that? 2025 EVs with cars, all of that, cars. And
Oh yeah, we'll see about that.
so yeah. So the next couple months, you see about the Biden administration will be regarding and for the election. So kind of be wary of the things that you see and hear from any type of presidential election or even like political. Like they do senators too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, they
yeah.
do.
So be kind of wary of what you hear from politicians for the next
Right.
year.
Because
So
especially the administration in office, they're going to try to make things better, right?
it
Right
is a
now.
nice thing. It is a nice thing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
But
okay, we kind of already talked about this, but the next thing on our list is how does cutting interest rates affect the economy? And we kind of already pretty much
yeah, we kind of talked about it in the first part. So
we kind of hit most of those points. You
yeah, but
know,
my main concern, like I was saying, was just what's the reason of them doing it for?
they're
So would it
doing
be
it.
you say that? Yes, I understand that because they won the fight on inflation, but is it because of that, or are they trying to do anything? Is it because of like more of a reaction to the recession that we might possibly have? So I'm not saying that
Yeah,
is the
but
reason, but I am something to think of.
okay, but if inflation was the problem, and remember back in the inflation times, they said, "Oh, we might go into a recession,
Uh-huh.
right? Because things were costing too much." Well, they fixed that now, right? They brought the prices
That's what
down.
they say. Yeah, that's what they
Okay.
say.
So now, what would you do if the rates are up and now the problem is that people are struggling to pay to get loans and stuff for houses or whatever? Well, you're gonna cut rates, right? You're gonna cut rates so that it goes back down and it fixes some of like this bank stuff we just talked about, right? So it's not like I don't see it as something bad.
Okay. Yeah, it's just something I'm just like I'm back in my mind just thinking about it. But yeah, I do think I do
Because
want
how
the
would we have a
rates.
recession?
A lot of things. A lot of people say the housing bubble. So it might be because of
Yeah,
that.
but
Never know.
but the housing bubble thing, like what we just talked about, where the things are underwater, the loans are underwater. That's going to
That's
get
a good point.
better
Yeah.
as you cut when
That's
you
a good
cut
point.
rates.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Cutting rates is it makes sense. That was the plan. The plan was to raise rates to fix the inflation, and then now that inflation's gone,
Cut rates.
yeah.
I got you.
Okay. Thoughts on the year 2023? Did we talk about this?
we kind of glossed over, it, but yeah,
We pretty much did.
it kind of went by fast, like we were saying in the beginning. I learned a lot about the stock market in general, like how to play it, things like that. I kind of learned like not get too emotional for some things. Like you kind of got to think of it, sit back and just think of it like it's not something. The stock market isn't something you can like really as a person like manipulate by
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay, I know what I could say about this. A month ago on the podcast, I said like,
Yeah, and we are both kind of learning too. Like
yeah, we're definitely still
that's what
learning
you about to go say, but yeah, we are kind of like learning like what style is
strategy.
best for us. Style strategy is best for us.
Yeah,
So
because when we first for the first year or two of this show, I was pretty big on stock picking. Right, I watched YouTube
yeah,
videos. I kind of we were in like a pretty bullish market for most of that time. So pretty much anything you bought in the pandemic times, it went up. Right, so I was pretty big on stock picking. I was like, oh, it's not that hard. But then this year, as we went through tougher times in 2022, I kind of changed my mind and said, okay, just go with the index fund. You can average whatever 10, 12, 15% per year, and you don't have to do anything. It's easy, um, and you don't have to worry about picking stocks and losing money and stuff. But then I watched this video on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and what he talked about was in the S&P 500, how many stocks outperformed the index this year. And you know how many it was?
how many? What was it?
So now we're looking at the S&P. So the S&P did not have as good of a year as the Nasdaq. That's why I always say invest in the Nasdaq, because it always outperforms. But the point is, the S&P 500, if you invested in that, I think it's up. It doesn't matter. I think it's up 30%, 35% this year. The point is, out of those, if you bought the index, you'd be up a certain amount, right? Out of those 500 companies, about 120, I think it was 120, 130, something like that, outperformed.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a 1 in 4 chance. Out of those 500 stocks, you could pick 1 out of 4 of them. 25% of them outperformed the index. It didn't outperform the Nasdaq, it outperformed the S&P, but you could probably do the same calculation for Nasdaq and just pick, a quarter of them to outperform. So I don't think it's that hard. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I'm not trying to make it sound easier like I'm a pro at it, but with those statistics, it shows you that you have a better chance than I thought. And then the other thing he talked about was this is actually a lower year for that. So it was showing in previous years it's normally like 30, 40, 50% of the stocks in the S&P outperformed. So then you have like a 1 in 3 chance or a 1 in 2 chance of picking these companies. And I mean, you could a lot of times you don't have to be a genius to see which companies are going to outperform, right? You can get a pretty good idea. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still experimenting myself. I've been investing for 7 years now, right? This is my 7th year.
Man. Okay.
I think 7. Wait, yeah, 7 years.
Started at 17, right?
But I started when I was 17 and I'm 24. So
God, you're old.
I know, right? So this is my 7th year, and so my thing has been I've averaged 40% returns, okay? But that is still not accurate because I invested in Tesla, which skyrocketed things, so that doesn't count. So over the next 5 years, will I be able to get 40% a year? I don't know. It's possible, but we'll see. So I'm still experimenting myself to see if picking stocks is actually worthwhile and if it's actually realistic to consistently beat it. But that's my stance. Josh?
No, that's good. That's good. But yeah, like I said, I'm also learning, trying to figure out what's my style, what's best for me, my strategy. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like I said with my stocks, kind of been like laid back. It's not like I haven't been seeing big jumps. Good, thank God, not any too big losses besides Roblox. But
Really?
yeah, I mean not really Roblox, but I expected more from Roblox though.
What happened with Roblox?
It's just that I don't know.
Let me see.
I think that's what my expectations. It wasn't like a big loss, but I expected like a little bit more from when I first bought it. But I think that was like also.
Oh my God! It's up 74% on the year.
No, I expected more though.
What? What do you mean? That's a lot.
No, but I bought it at like 60 something. I think. Go back to.
Oh, that's not good. I wouldn't have done that. I see. So if you bought it at $25, then you're up 74.
I bought it like in the $50-$60 range or something.
Oh,
So I'm just
it hasn't
like
been...
barely.
When did you buy it?
Wait, what was it back in
In August of 2022 it was 51.
Do February? I think it was February when I bought it.
No, because that was the highest it was in the last 2 years.
So yeah, I bought
it back here in early 2022 at $70.
That's when I bought it.
Oh God!
I had that
So
for a year.
You've had it for almost 2 years
Almost
now.
had it for 2 years. Yeah. Almost had it for 2 years.
Oh, well, that makes sense, and I see what you're saying. So it hasn't.
Yeah, no, I seen like a lot of kids playing it, so I kind of like when I also look at this, like I'm also like looking at like how popular it is,
Yeah.
things like that, and kids love Roblox.
But see, the thing is, I don't think this company's made a profit, and the market cap's still at 28 billion. That's how I've felt about this company since for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but they did do good this year, so I am kind of like okay, cool.
I'm actually interested in seeing. Let's see what they're. Are they growing? Are they close to making a profit? I mean, that's why I don't like those companies where they have valuations of 30, 40 billion, but they don't make any money. I'm kind of over that. Like I've lost so much money with
But
companies.
the one thing about Roblox though, it's been around for so long though.
Has it?
Too. A while. I think Roblox was around when we were like kids.
Oh, 2004. Wow.
Yeah, like what's crazy though? When like Roblox first came out, when I first heard about it, I was like 9. I thought it was like for nerds, and like every kid plays it now.
Okay, so in the last, these last.
And the one
2
thing
years,
about Roblox too that helped them out a lot this year, they went on to the PlayStation store, so you can now buy it like on the PlayStation. I think Xboxes too.
So
yeah.
so look, okay, so yeah, we had some growth here, right? Of course, during the pandemic, there's huge growth. Now the growth is not that much. They're only doing $2 billion of revenue. The company's trading at a $30 billion valuation. So of course that's nothing. And then let's go to profits. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure, yeah, it's negative. They're losing more and more money every year.
Shame.
So they just lost almost $1 billion. So you just bought something for $30 billion that's losing $1 billion a year. You see, why would you do that?
Shame.
No, you actually bought it way more because this is now. So you bought yours at like a $35 or $40 billion company.
Something like that, yeah. Shame.
You bought a company that loses more and more money every year.
Shame. But what's it at now? Like 50 something?
45, 46. So
I'm telling you, as soon as it gets back to 60, I'm selling it.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? It could keep.
Yeah, but
going
no, I
up,
still got faith in it though.
All right.
Like the one thing about PlayStation, that was a bonus. So they got more people playing it, more kids.
Yeah.
Playing
So there might be a future. You just have to wait. Okay. Oh, so we talked about predictions for 2024. What's our predictions for 2024?
The market can go as low as 50%. The market can go up as high as 50%.
Okay, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna remain bullish. I'm gonna say we're not gonna have a bad year. I don't think it's gonna be negative. I don't even think it would be flat. I want to say, I think we're gonna have around an average year. I think we're gonna have around a 12%, increase for the Nasdaq.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess. That's my estimate. I think we went through this period from 2021 until 2023. Really, let's just say 2022. 2022 as a year was really bad. I think we went through as worse as you can pretty much get.
Definitely, yeah.
2023 was as pretty much as good as you can possibly get. So I think that balances out. That V we have right there over the last 2 years, I think that balances it out. So now we're literally at the point we were 2 years ago. So now I think 2024 is set up and ready to go for it doesn't need to skyrocket more, but I don't see it going back down. I think it's just going to.
You don't see a big loss.
No.
There's going to be some negatives. I don't see like.
No, I don't see it going.
Do you see any at all? Okay.
No. I'm talking about the index as a performance for,
okay,
for the
I
year.
got you. Yeah.
I think it's going to go up between 10 and 20%, maybe 15%. I think that's realistic. Okay. Up next. Will Zoom ever go back to $100? That's a great question. This is another company that I wanted to leave in the past. Now, do you still have PayPal?
No, I sold it.
Okay, good. Me too.
Yeah, no, I sold it.
Good. Oh, look at another Kathy Woodstock. Not even close to where it was trading at 3 years ago. Look how flat it is. It literally has not moved. It's all these Kathy Wood companies.
You know what's funny though? Too like less people being on it. I feel like the service is like worse now.
Yeah, and you got like Google Meets and stuff. You got other stuff, right?
Mm.
Okay, let's go to Zoom video. Let's see what these numbers are looking like. Yeah, I mean that.
What's Zoom at now?
72. The pandemic was literally the greatest example, the greatest experience to go through as a stock market investor to see what things actually happen. Like now we know when the world goes through something like COVID, stocks like this will literally jump up 10x. Same thing with Peloton.
That's another
just because people are so reliant on those products and services that become so important in such a short period of time, those stocks will actually go up 10x. Then it literally, as soon as the world goes back to normal a little bit, all these products and services are like gone. They lose all their growth. Everything, it goes straight back down. So it's literally the perfect example of how the stock market reacts based off of what's going on in the world. So, okay, let's see. Zoom revenue averaging 96% growth in the last 5 years, only because of pretty much what happened during the pandemic from 2020 to 2022. They had some good numbers. But now we're looking at, $4 billion in 2022 of revenue, and then a little bit over $4 billion for 2023. So, again, the growth is pretty much gone, right? And then what's more important is the net income, which if we look at that peaked at $1.3 billion in 2022. 2023, it went way down, and it's only $100 million. So it's just another reason not to own the stock, right? There's no consistency here. They're not doing anything crazy special.
Yeah, like we talked about, they're not doing anything game changing.
They're not doing anything innovative or game changing. Yeah. So Zoom, I don't know, but maybe I don't. That's not gonna. I see it being in line.
Even Apple did something with like their video stuff, but you can FaceTime on Samsung phones now. That's something innovative.
You can?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I think Zoom's just gonna be a same thing as it's not gonna do horrible, but it's not gonna do amazing. I think it's gonna be in the middle.
Mm-hmm. But we should have a funeral for Zoom though.
A funeral?
It was one of the definitely for that year.
It's all it is.
Of, our number one tool, how we communicated,
it is.
did work. School.
I still use it all the time, but
it's been a while since I used Zoom. It's been a while. I think probably the last time we did an episode or something. I think that's probably the last time.
I'm gonna use it for a meeting in an hour from now, so it's still useful to me. But okay, next question.
I think that's the last topic too.
No. Should you be scared when someone says the market crash was
We're
coming?
talking about that already. We're on to
kind
Disney,
of. We didn't really answer that question directly.
Oh well, no, because every year someone says it.
Pretty much.
Everybody says the same.
That's why I don't like those people, because they're always wrong.
They're
always wrong.
You're right. Say
the stock market has only gone up. You could pick one. You could find 1 year here and there. Every decade.
It's like the same thing as a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
You get 2 every 50 tries or whatever.
If you follow their advice, you would lose so much money.
Just if you listen to Kathy Woods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit different, but that's different. That's different.
All right. But now this is our last question though. This was some big news surrounding Disney, and I was this past week or so. But I was just thinking to myself, 2024 might be a very, very rough year for Disney.
You think
and also
so?
in the movie industry as a whole.
Why?
Because this past week, Jonathan Majors, the lead guy for the Avengers movie, who's supposed to be the number one guy. He was let go by Disney because he was found guilty with I think he was in court. No, he was in court for domestic violence abuse,
really?
All of that. Disney actually let him go this past week. So in the past, 5-7 years, he was supposed to be the next
What was his job?
He was he's gonna play Emperor Kang. So he's the big villain.
Oh.
So he's gonna be the next Thanos. He was gonna be the next Ronnie Downey Jr. for at least the next 10 years for Disney. But he's gone. Also, with the writer strike that was going on, they're going back, but they missed a whole 6 plus 8 months of development.
There's a huge delay now. Yeah.
They had a Snow White movie that they've been doing for a couple years. Disney. It's supposed to come out this upcoming year. It won't come out to 2025, 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and plus next year, you talk about superhero movies. The only superhero movie coming out is Deadpool and something else.
Well, you know what though? They might just rush some stuff. And here's the other thing that happened during that time.
But you know what?
We had this thing called AI come out during that same time, which is gonna fast forward a lot of things. That could speed up the process.
One thing about movies, they have to be good. They have to be somewhat good.
I think they're going to use AI. I think it's going to make things a lot faster.
For what, write scripts and all of that?
For the whole process.
Problem with movies is they have to be good.
What can you not?
Problem with movies,
what can AI not help you with? AI pretty much can help you with everything. Pictures, videos, writings, website building.
They don't show emotions though. Emotions with script writing that invoke people to want to keep watching.
Well, you're kind of right,
movies.
but you don't. But I think that they still can.
They probably have always been doing that, but still, the movies have to be good. If the movie's not good, it's useless.
Well, Disney makes a bunch of bad movies along with their good ones.
Yeah, but the Marvel movies they've been bombing. Like the last Captain Marvel movie bombed.
Yeah.
Go to DC, they just stopped their entire DC movie universe. That was a complete failure. So it was gonna be rough though. Like the writer strike is over, but we still haven't like seen the effects of it yet.
Yeah.
Because movie shows they take time to make.
Right. Well, it'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Very interesting to see when you look at Disney. Disney still got to do with the DeSantis situation down in Florida.
Is that still going on?
I think so.
When I go down there, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. You should go to the Disney World though. Fun place. If you go to Disney World, go to Epcot. Make sure that's right. Yeah, Epcot.
Okay.
Got like a food and wine festival. Fun.
Okay.
And then go to Ireland. They got some good food there. Ireland has the best food and drinks.
That's in Disney World?
At Disney World at the
Really? Okay.
Epcot Park.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Orlando's. I went to Universal Studios.
Go to Disney though.
Yeah, okay. I forgot. I haven't been there in
I mean,
so
Universal Studios is fun too, but go to Disney World just for Epcot though.
I thought it was just for kids.
No, Epcot's for adults. Like they changed it up. Like I'm telling you, they have like a food and wine festival. They got like drinks. But go to Ireland. What else is nice? Yeah, Ireland I think was the best in China.
Okay, that's
China
cool.
had the best thing, but
That's
yeah. So it's gonna be. I think, in my personal opinion, Disney gonna have it. They're gonna have to be strapped down the boots because they have to figure out those.
But it's gonna be the same thing for all the other content makers, right?
Very true.
Netflix
very true.
and HBO and everyone, Hulu and everyone should have some struggle with that.
It's been a while since we had like a big show pop up. I can't think of like that like change the world like that one Netflix show with the
Squid Games.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Squid
Stranger
Games
Things
recently. Yeah,
or something.
HBO has had nothing either, so it's kind of been nothing really. So those companies got to figure out something.
I thought Squid Games 2 is supposed to be coming out.
Yeah, I don't know when though.
Okay.
Yeah, so people gonna watch that. I've never seen it, but yeah, people.
You never watched it?
No.
Oh, it's good.
I don't want to watch it.
Why?
Just don't want to.
Oh, okay.
All right, but that's finally ends. I guess this episode Stock Talk with Josh and Niko. Niko, what else you got to add?
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you all for the constant support for this entire year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yes, we love all of you. Thank you for all your constant support. Shout out to everyone that's watching on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Do we still have Anchor? No. Well, now it's just Spotify Podcasts.
SoundCloud.
Yeah. Also, thank you for everyone that's tuning in on the radio now at WGLB 12:30 a.m. and 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. Thank you all for listening, tuning in. Shout out to our TikTok audience. Don't know how many people's up in there, but thank you all for just staying here, listen to us, episode 55. Just talk about whatever, really. But yeah, it's been a cool episode. Last hoorah for the year. Like I said, we're recording this the day before Christmas Eve. I might drop it on sometime Wednesday, something like that. But yeah, Wednesday, the video, Friday, whatever. But yeah, thank you all once again. Merry Christmas to you all, and nothing else to add though.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a greener days ahead, people. Bye bye.